Welcome. I'm Greer Lynch, Vice President of Marketing at Mavenoid. I'm excited to bring to you another great customer story today. Today we have John Brine from Irrigreen. He's Vice President of Operations. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Greer. Excited for this conversation today.
Yeah, likewise. So let's just jump right in. So can you tell us about Irrigreen? What type of equipment does the company manufacture and sell, and who are your customers?
Yeah, so Irrigreen, we are the world's smartest digital sprinkler system. We essentially have designed robots that do watering more efficiently and with more precision than anyone else in the industry. Our founder and chief technology officer, Gary Kleinfelter, came up with the design out of personal frustration in the way that his traditional mechanical sprinkler system was operating. And he knew he could do better. So the design and the principle is about twofold. One is the precision and ensuring that you're putting water really where only it's needed. And then secondarily, it is about water savings. Our sprinkler system, the Irrigreen 2 digital sprinkler, uses half of the water that a traditional system does. And that is in part of the design and technology focus that we leverage by only putting water exactly where it's needed, but also by changing the approach. A traditional mechanical irrigation system has designed overlap. And nature doesn't do that. And so why are we? And so this was a really good opportunity to say, we can put the right amount of water right to your lawn exactly where it's needed and actually save our customers in their watering bill. You know, water scarcity is a real thing here in the United States. And so our customers have flocked to us for both the precision and the water savings. As in the last 3 years, like for Texas alone, we've seen an 80% increase in water cost. And so it's a huge opportunity not only to save our customers some of the money that they're spending to have a luscious and green lawn, but also as environmental stewards. You know, we look at our customers to say, how do we kind of make accidental environmentalists? It may not be their primary reason, but as a company, we really want to be stewards of the land and leave this place in a better position than when we found it.
It's great to hear that you're an environmentally conscious company. I imagine that's a big reason why a lot of your customers choose Irrigreen. So your customers, let's talk about them. Your customers and your partner installers, they're the ones installing this equipment. So how does this inform your customer support strategy?
Yeah, so we started as a direct to customer type of sales environment where the customers were looking at the product and saying, that's different. I want that. And so we built it with the intention of so easy a weekend warrior could do it, which also has really given us this kind of groundswell of excitement and demand from our contracted partner installers. Where they're finding it is more efficient. So the Irrigreen product uses 80% less trenching than a traditional irrigation system because we get to put the head right in the middle and then use technology to ensure that it gets full coverage, as opposed to a traditional system that you have to go all the way around the perimeter and put more wiring, more pipe and everything and disrupt the land more. So we've really seen a benefit there. And, we started really with a lot of DIY based customers. Now, as we looked at that, it's awesome because we have the technician, the installer right at the customer's home. And we wanted to capitalize on that by providing them with more information and tutorials, guides, data on how to optimize their watering to get, the desired outcome.
That's great. And it's my understanding that you've seen some rapid growth at the company. So how has that affected your customer support team and efforts?
Yeah, the rapid growth has been awesome. It's also a challenge from a customer support. As with anyone in the industry knows, you really can't, you've got to prove your product market fit before you can build all of the support infrastructure to go along with it. So as we exited 2 years ago, we started seeing over 200 and almost 300% growth year over year. And from a support standpoint, that is a really big opportunity because you're not just supporting the new installation base and the new customers. You have a growth along your, what we refer to as the fleet, the existing customer base. We wanted to make sure that was supported as well. So that was a unique challenge for me to come in and build this team. And, if I look back to a year ago, we had 4 support technicians actively working kind of in a bit of a reactionary way. In other words, when a customer would be presented with an issue, we'd react and give them great service. But I knew that that wasn't a scalable process because as we continue to see this growth, I'd have to double and triple the team along with our sales demand to support the existing customer as well as the future. So we looked to the industry to say, how can we solve this by leveraging that DIY, that customer, that technician that lives at the customer's home or that property? And we knew self-service was going to be key. A big element too was doing some customer research. We actually reached out to quite a few customers to better understand what process steps they went through before reaching out to our team directly. And overwhelmingly, the voice was, yeah, we looked at your site, we looked through your app, we tried to find ways to basically self-serve or find the resolution, troubleshooting steps, if you will. But there wasn't anything there. And they said, I don't actually want to talk to your tech support. It's great that they're there. We love that they're there when we need them. But I'd prefer to do this on my time. The other part too is the hours and staffing can be really difficult. For my industry, we have customers and homeowners that have our systems. They work during the day, the same hours that our team is working. And so when they're on weekends and nights, they want to be able to address, either optimize and tweak their system with the right knowledge base to understand how to do that correctly, or to troubleshoot. Especially installation. The DIYers, they're taking a 2 or 3 day weekend to do the installation themselves. So how can we meet them? And the customers actually said, I don't really need to talk with you. Just give me the right information. I've already done the installation. I just need these last 2 steps that I need clarification on. So when we found that voice of customer, we knew that a self-service tool that dynamically allowed them to find the right information was going to be key. So for us, as I looked across the industry, a really big differentiator with Mavenoid was the AI-based search, the natural language processing of where a customer can go right in and in their own language describe what they're trying to do and then be served the correct information is key. Because I, as a curious and kind of, tinkerer myself, will often go and try to find information on a particular thing I'm playing with. If it's with my kids and we're building something in the garage, it's really hard to find the right document or the right schematic or whatever it could be. You don't even need to be technical, but that can be really frustrating to spend time finding it versus solving it. So that was a key differentiator for us to be able to serve up the correct information accurately and timely to a customer so that they could get back to what they're doing, which for us is enjoying the backyard and not spending time messing with their sprinkler system.
That's great. Can you share more about your customers' buying habits? I assume there's some seasonality. We're talking about lawns and gardens. Maybe in some geographies there's less seasonality, but I would assume in many there is some. So how does that fluctuating demand impact your customer support, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, we definitely have a peak season. While we influence demand to kind of be more year round, the customer's buying habits and behavior is very much a peak in the spring and then actually towards the end of the summer season when things start to dry out. So come August, that's actually historically one of our larger installation seasons because people are like, I'm just frustrated with the lawn and I want to have it be green and lush all year round. So from a service standpoint, that presented us with, a new challenge because we see a significant increase in users and outreach and support needs throughout that growing season, if you will. And I also can't staff up and train team members that quickly to be able to react. So as I looked at it and approached how we solve for that, leveraging the, what I refer to as the on-site installation expert, the homeowner or that installation partner, we wanted to arm them to really be our first line in defense or line of knowledge. And through Mavenoid, it's been extremely impactful. I was actually looking at our data for this quarter to date, and we're over 50% self-service resolution, which is huge because that's allowed me to actually keep a team staffing rate flat to previous year, but we've been able to essentially double the output of the team by providing the right information to our customers. The other part, Greer, that I didn't anticipate or model out ahead of time that has been really impactful is our ability when we do work with the customer through live chat or phone or email, whatever channel they choose to interact with us with, we're able to send them the right information the first time instead of providing a bullet step function of step 1 do this, step 2 do that. We already have that information with embedded videos and showing that step or animated pictures and GIFs to be able to really enrich the experience. So the customer is super confident when they're provided the right steps on how to execute that. So our rework loop or reopen case rate has actually decreased significantly because we're able to provide the right information to the customer the first time.
That's great to hear. Yeah, we see a lot of engagement when you bring in other types of media, right? Like your standard chatbot can't do that. So that's really critical when you're talking about installing something like this equipment. Those videos, those images really can be quite helpful and build that confidence for installation like you're talking about. So it sounds like Mavenoid's really helped you handle some of that increase in demand. You said you're able to maintain your staff, which is wonderful, while handling that peak. Can you talk to us a little bit about what the Mavenoid implementation looked like? How long did it take, and what did that process involve?
As I was reviewing the schedule with our internal engineering team from software to web, and even our CTO kind of balked at the schedule. I was like, it's going to take you way longer than that. And it didn't. I was highly impressed with the speed in which we could stand up the entire self-service platform. And when I say the platform, I do mean from live chat opportunities when we are staffed and available on our website to implementation in both Apple and Android mobile applications, and then a dedicated knowledge repository on our website. It took us about 4 weeks. And the piece that impressed everyone was that wasn't 4 weeks to stand up the technology. That was 4 weeks to actually have published content out for our customers. It took us about a week and a half to have everything stood up and integrated across our CRM so that tickets were automatically created during after-hour situations to the website and to the mobile apps. But then my team, a mighty team of 2, began authoring, and it took them about 2.5 to 3 weeks to author our installation guide, which was our primary and our first use case, which was supporting how a customer or installer act like the full process steps from when to trench to make sure you call 411 to get your utilities marked, the whole way through final programming and schedule setting. And so the fact that we could do that in early February and launch by March 1st was just super impressive and absolutely critical, because when our volume ramps up, we have got to capture that as quickly as possible. The part that I also did anticipate with that speed, as well as the tailored content that we author to push right into the user's hands, really aided our sales team, where our sales process actually adjusted or evolved to be more inclusive of the knowledge and support documentation that we have. So a customer that is planning to do a DIY installation was like, oh, I actually already reviewed all the steps. I walked through it last night in 15 minutes, and I'm super comfortable with it now that I know what I'm getting into. part of that is with that enriched experience that you described, that we have video, we have image, you can see each and every product with a double click into seeing what that's used for. And as we onboard new installation partners, they feel, and, the sentiment we get is, I'm not alone. I have a digital version of Irrigreen in my pocket on my smartphone that I can jump into and navigate any, situations that I may come up with.
That's great. Yeah, almost like an interactive, instruction pamphlet that you would normally get. I think that's great, helping on the pre-sale side to give that confidence. Like, what am I getting myself into? Hey, it's not that bad. Great. Let's go. Wonderful. And so you're talking a lot about when your end customer is using Mavenoid, looking for information, which is great. But it's my understanding your team internally has also used Mavenoid a little bit. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah. So we use it as the basis point for our support staff and technical support to be onboarded. The first 2 days of their training experience is actually running through and only using Mavenoid guides to do an installation. Now, they're not necessarily digging in the ground and putting the sprinkler system, below grade, but they are setting it up in our office and in our testing warehouse. And we do that for twofold. One, we get a raw feedback with someone that may not have experience in irrigation. And two, they understand the navigation and can walk customers through it as needed. We've really leaned into the idea that Mavenoid and the guides that we publish is our knowledge base. When I started and before we had Mavenoid, it was all tribal. The team was extremely knowledgeable and had all the information pinned between their ears. Oh, that's not really scalable. You've got to have that one-to-one conversation to garner the data or information on what to do next. So by pulling it out, we've actually spread it across the team. Anytime I walk through where my tech support staff sit, I'm able to see that they often have Mavenoid set up and they're walking a customer through it, even in a way of being confident and affirming what they've done 6, 8, 10 times before with different customers, that they've stated the right steps, that they aren't missing over something. That when you become super comfortable with a process, your own human bias takes over, where you might not even think like, oh, make sure you go to this screen and tap here for it. So it also is a way to ensure good quality throughout, that our team gets to leverage that for some of the more detailed processes.
Great. Thanks so much for talking about the different use cases you've seen with Mavenoid. Can you talk to me a little bit about the impact you've seen to your business and how you might quantify that?
First and foremost for us, Greer, it's been keeping a flat headcount year over year, while we experience really significant compounded annual growth rates. As I mentioned before, Irrigreen is growing 200 to 300% year over year for the last 3 years. And while we love our new customers, we also know we need to support our current. And so that growing customer base really presented that challenge of saying, how can we not staff up so significantly? Without Mavenoid, which has addressed half of our case volume so far through self-service resolution, we would have easily had to double the staff of our technical support. Now, on top of that, there are impacts to demand. I mentioned before that our customers are gained, or they're able to garner more confidence in understanding the process. So if they are a DIYer, they feel supported and have a higher likelihood to convert in that purchase flow. And then secondly, we're a environmentally conscious company. We're here to save water. And I really struggled with the fact that we printed really nice, high quality guides and steps. And I think there were 37 pieces of paper that went into an order that walked a customer or an installer through the process steps on how to put the system into the ground and get it functioning. Since then, we've converted to a single label that goes on the packaging that has QR codes that take a customer directly into the installation guide. And we've avoided having that paper, which has a really significant green impact. But also, we're saving about $50,000 a year in printing fees just by having a digital guide that also as soon as anything changes, every user sees any of those tweaks or adjustments. As a product and technology company, we do releases every 2 to 3 weeks. And so there's little nuanced changes, whether it's an app screen, and we no longer have to liaise with a print company or version control, or even having a designer actually updates, the guides themselves. That weight has been lifted, so we're able to be more nimble with the guided information and also have it be really accurate. Because I'm not sure if you've experienced this, Greer, but when you open up here's how to install whatever product you're doing and it doesn't look the same, I have this like moment of concern of like, oh God, how's this going to go? But if it's exactly what I see on my screen, I never have a second of doubt, and I'm just able to quickly move through that with confidence in the brand.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, the environmental impact as well as just always having the exact right information. It's always current. That's really valuable for your customers. Can you talk about, has Mavenoid helped you build your relationship with customers? How does it factor into that relationship?
It has. For us, the growth impact, we've gotten reviews after customers had a case that just said, I'm so glad that I was able to do this on my time and not have to be on the phone or take a half day work from home or take the day off even to work through troubleshooting. So that's been a significant impact, that the customer feels that we're meeting them where they are instead of the inverse. So in service, that's just critical. It's got to be easy. It's got to be convenient, and Mavenoid has certainly allowed for that. The other part is we identified that the customers prefer that, or at least a vast majority do. We'll always have customers that want to talk live with someone, know your name, and have kind of that one-to-one relationship. But for our system, a sprinkler system, not a lot of customers want to. They want to be able to get the information on their terms and do the work when they want. So it's really allowed for us to, again, meet the customer in their preferred channel or on their preferred schedule. Now, lastly, our installer partners. These are contractors that do irrigation for their business. Time is money. For anyone in a B2B, like, you understand that. And so their ability to not have to be on a hold queue or wait for the next available tech support agent is also something that they love. They feel, again, that Irrigreen is with them in their pocket on their smartphone the whole time through. And we're actually looking at expanding that and adding a very contractor installer centric experience that will be tailored with more industry terminology. So I personally am super excited to be able to bifurcate in our experience to say, you're a preferred installer, you get to see this, this, and this that can be more specific, more direct. And then also, kind of the simplistic side for our DIY customers that might have a little bit more walking through general irrigation, but I don't need to give that to someone that is a professional in the industry.
Well, I'm excited to see the future of customer support for Irrigreen. Seems like there's a lot of great stuff on the horizon. Last question then, for someone in your role at a different company, what strategies or tools would you recommend to them? What advice would you have?
My advice to anyone going through or navigating the journey of finding, ways to unlock scale or efficiency is, first, start with your voice of customer. As always, if it doesn't meet their expectations, what was the point? So identify their preferred channels. Is that a mobile experience? Is that web? Is that chat? And really identify what and how they want to interact with you as a business. Then you can quickly identify solutions that meet that. As with anyone, be overly critical on the solutions, get the demo, get to actually see it. And, with Mavenoid, I was the first user that went through and made a pretty rough guide information, but I was able to see how quickly a novice user, me, could actually go through that and start to generate content that was tangible or accessible to our user base. And then from there, we started testing. And, I think the last piece is always be relentless in listening to the feedback. I'm a huge believer in the, continuous improvement mindset. And if you don't have a problem, then you can't get better. And so being very honest with your customers' feedback of saying this didn't work or could this be better is an absolute gem of opportunity to go. And for us, our customers said, you're not available when I need you to be. And I don't expect you to be available at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night when I'm finally able to go tinker. So meet me where I'm at. And by doing that, we were able to really quickly realize the results and the return on investment that we anticipated. And frankly, our CEO called me a sandbagger because we've been able to return a result far higher than I forecasted, based on what our customers are telling us.
Terrific. Well, hey, thanks so much for your time today. I know the audience is going to find your insights very valuable. So thanks so much. Really excited to talk to you today.
Thanks, Greer. Appreciate the time today.